Nowadays, we hear a lot about people leaving their work. We hear about quiet quitting, the great resignation, even I think I've heard of quiet firing recently. But the reality is that we are going through a lot of people changing careers, changing jobs, and just going over turnover a lot now. My name is Kaylee. I'm a licensed counselor and certified career counselor, and today I want to offer you some tips for not only deciding if you need to leave your job, but also for how to leave your job well. Now, the first part of this, the decision to leave, is probably the hardest question to answer without some guidance. Because, yes, we can just say, I got to get out of here, I need to leave, and so I'm going to. The reality, though, is there are times when that feels impossible. It doesn't feel like we have anything to go to, or we're locked in by something called golden handcuffs, which is usually something like pay or benefits that feel too good to find in another place. So when you're looking at if you should leave your job, I want you to think about what the values are for you. And if you need a little bit help in identifying what your values are, I have a previous video talking about work values. They are going to be the things that determine how satisfied you are. And so if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and pause this one, watch that one, and then come back to this. Now that you're back, if you had seen it already, I want you to think about those values that showed up for you, and look at your current job and see where it aligns or doesn't align with those values for you. If it's not aligning, the next step is actually to see if there's a way to modify your role so that it does meet those values. Maybe there's a high value for opportunity for advancement, but you're just not feeling like you're going anywhere. Talk to your boss and see where those opportunities may lie. If your boss then comes back to you and says, nope, you're stuck there, it wouldn't be a pretty bad thing for a boss to say. But if they did, you then know, hey, this isn't the place for me. I may need to look for something else. And as you start to look at what those values are for you, if they don't align and you cannot get them changed in your role, then it may be time to start looking for that new job. And as you look, you're not going to first quit this job. We're going to start looking at what other opportunities are out there. I understand that we cannot always order it, that we get to easily transition from one job to another. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I more want you to know the direction you're going before you step out of that other position. Now, as you know, those values are important as you look forward to other jobs. And so as you're looking, I want to encourage you to talk to people in your life who you feel could give you some insight into some of those positions. You may know friends or family members in different roles. Even if they're a high school, person, classmate, whatever, that you haven't talked to in 10 years, if you're Facebook friends, go ahead and try to reach out to them, as long as, you're not enemies or something like that. Go ahead and reach out to them and just say, hey, can I ask you about your position, your role? Most people are not going to say no to that. Most people will say yes. And so it's okay to reach out even to those slight connections, because they are a connection. If you have no connections to a position that you're really interested in, that may be where you reach out to the company and say, I am just interested in this type of job. I would love to talk with someone about their experiences. Do you have someone available? That is a harder sell. It can happen. It's always best to go with people you know first. So as you transition into that looking for something new, once you find that something new, it then becomes the question of, okay, how do I leave? What do I do? Now, there's a couple of things you need to keep in mind. First of all, you need to look at the employee contract. If the contract has any outlined expectations for your departure, follow those expectations. If they want written notice, give them written notice. If they want you to give 6 weeks notice, give 6 weeks notice. That's a courteous thing to do. It's professional. I know it doesn't always happen, but for you it is important to do if you can. Once you follow the employee contract, the next step is asking yourself what that relationship is with your former employer or soon to be former employer. If it's a very basic relationship, no pleasantries or the opposite exchanged, then you can keep it as that basic piece. If there's a bad relationship with your employer and you're leaving on bad terms, I first of all encourage you to follow that contract to a T and even review the contract before you leave, because there are times where that contract may be misquoted or even used against you, and you need to know it well. I'm not giving legal advice here. Please don't take this as legal advice, but I want you to know that contract well so that you can back yourself up on how to follow through on that contract. You can also, in that time, if you want to go a step above, offer some outline for your plan for departure and how you want to make it go smoothly. That is not necessary. I would say that comes into play especially in the third situation where you have a good or decent relationship with your soon-to-be former employer. It is okay to go above and beyond on that. You want to have a good relationship even when you leave. And so express gratitude to them for all the opportunities they gave you. Talk to them about your plan to leave. Talk about how you want it to be smooth for the company because of your gratitude toward them. It can still be very descriptive of your plan to leave and your specific departure date. And also, don't be afraid to say that you're thankful, because that can be a really good end note for that goodbye. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have questions, if you've had bad experiences leaving or good ones, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. I also am always happy to answer questions. If you ever have questions about career work, please leave them in the comments below and I may use them in a video. You never know. So take care. Until next time, I will see you later. Bye.